You bet. The village manager's report. Ronald?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, our first update we're going to do today is we're going to have a demonstration on rentalscapes. I'm going to move up a little bit. This gentleman also has a presentation I believe he's going to have with the county, so I kind of wanted to have him, and he was so gracious enough to join us from Colorado, so we'll have him with our team. And Mayor Crawford, this is the software that you saw up in Georgia that we've inquired about, and we'll turn it over to Christy and to Alex.
So the mayor came to us and talked to us from, I can't remember what meeting or conference you went to.
Atlanta, Georgia, what's it called?
Municipal League, National
League of Cities.
League of Cities,
Yeah.
National League of Cities.
And you saw a demonstration on this and you were interested in it. And for the last, I want to say almost 2 years now, I've been doing so much research, and Rob and I have become fast friends because we've done quite a few presentations for this software between different staff members and board members. I'm really excited for it and I like it, and I hope that you guys do too, because I think this is going to make a big difference for our community.
Is that my cue?
That is
That's your cue.
All right, thank you everyone for allowing me a few minutes to speak and to demonstrate. Apologies to the mayor, I was the one that did not know the New Mexico Pledge of Allegiance.
Well, there was others, I'm sure.
I am not from the state of New Mexico, I live in Colorado, and I'm from the state of Michigan, and I've never heard that before, so I kind of looked like a deer in the headlights when that was going on, so I apologize.
For the record, it's written, we have a.
I didn't know if there was a group participation or anything else like that, but yeah, so I saw that and I was like, I'm not familiar with this at all. So, to be honest with you, it's been probably a decade since I've said the Pledge of Allegiance as well. So, but I did remember that one, so next time I'm down here, I'm all over the New Mexico one as well. So, a couple of things about Decker Technologies before I start, and I was told, give it about 10 minutes or so, and if there's questions, by all means interrupt me. This is entirely for you, but I wanted to touch on a few things before we even look at anything and just say what Decker Technologies is, because you have a vendor. Currently, what are some of the differences? What are the approaches that separate within the industry? And Decker Technologies was founded by a former chief scientist at Qualcomm, where they data mine cell phones and security encryption for the masses to use all of that data. And they saw a gap in the public sector with residential real estate. And so that's how this company started, with legitimately a group of geniuses that understood data mining better than really anyone else in the entire world. And so what it is that we do is we use artificial intelligence to data mine not just the big sites like Airbnb and Vrbo, but over 10,000 short-term rental sites every single day. And from there, we are able to data mine at a capacity that will generate more short-term rentals, because we're finding people that on the positive end have outgrown the fees of Airbnb because of name recognition. And on the negative end, maybe they're just trying to skirt the systems and the regulations that are in place. So we really pride ourselves, because we data mine every day. We data mine over 10,000 sites, that we're going to find every last one of these. We also tie all of the information to the parcel information. So we're not going off of unique jacuzzis in the backyard to verify properties. Everything we do has a tangible source of truth. And the last difference is that we do all of this verification with our in-house employees. We have a team of 55 data analysts that will match the address, and the parcel all together. So that way your data is secure. We're not sending it off to Indonesia or anything else like that with a third party. And the nice thing about it is the speed of onboarding, along with the quality assurance as well. So that's us in a nutshell of how we came to be, what separates us in the marketplace. I do have a demonstration, but it looks like I need to connect to the internet again. So just give that 1 second to go, and then we'll go ahead and get started on what it is that we can do. While that's doing that, what does the extra data mining mean? It certainly is going to have a tremendous impact on compliance. We generally see that the marketplace and the other vendors in this space come up around 75% of the short-term rentals that we find. So if you're talking about an entire marketplace that's 25% deficient in what it should be, That is quite the registration, it is quite the tax consumption, it's quite the amount of people that are not detected and, like I said, skirting the system so they're not paying their fair share. Someone like me that lives out of state, as I mentioned, should not be able to come into your village, buy up your housing inventory, and run a short-term rental and not be detected. The whole point of our process here is to create equity and fairness in the marketplace between the people that live and pay taxes and drive on your roads and the out-of-state investor that is getting by skate-free. So a few things that we want to touch on. The look and feel of the system is, if everyone can see that, there's a couple of things that we do differently than everyone else. And so one thing that I'll keep track of is just click into an actual property card view and see what it is that we're data mining for, so you can see the differences on a daily basis. So we're data mining, like I said, parcel information, short-term rental sites, long-term rental sites in case if they flip back and forth between short-term and long-term, and all the sales sites like a Zillow, Realtor.com, etc. And so you'll see in this picture here of what I'm displaying, this is an individual property card view. The nice thing about it is when you data mine every single day, you can see every single booking that takes place with every individual property. We data mine what the average daily rate is on, so you can see a lot of information and data that comes at you. The length of stay, the number of stays, the number of contracts given out, the average daily rate inside the data itself. All of this information can easily be parsed out down here. If you're wondering, about the taxes and why it's taking a percentage, you are looking at a live site, but what you're looking at is just our artificial intelligence data mining everything. This has not gone through our second phase 2 of the human oversight for verification, so we will plug in your exact percentages to the scope of work. I believe it is 5% in the village, so if any of the numbers look a little bit off, that's the reason why. The nice thing about our system and our processes is that we do have a way of reaching out to your citizens or your operators, property managers. We take these timestamp PDFs every single week. We're currently doing this for you now, even though we're not partnered up at a quarterly frequency. The nice thing about this is Decker Technologies personnel will lick stamps, envelopes, and mail these out to your 1,500 plus short-term rentals, so that way the compliance numbers are driven up. Our national average, so San Diego to Seattle to Miami to Maine, is over 96%. So if we have a capability of data mining every day, finding more, and then driving the compliance with the outreach program, it is what we call the best residential real estate data in the entire world. That's how we value ourselves. And so I can go on and on. As Christy knows, the presentations are about an hour long, and I have about 6 more minutes here. The aspect of what we do from compliance is all about the data, and that is where we excel. We have a registration portal, we have a tax collection portal, we are an end-to-end unit. We're not gonna have time to get into what that is, but I wanna be very clear, it's your process. You develop it with our team, and everything that you want to ask as far as questions can all be reported on. There are a few things that I do think that are unique to us that I want to share today. When I click on this, this is South Padre Island, who has been a long-standing partner of Decker Technologies. And what's nice about this is you can have this on your village website and have all the locations of short-term rentals displayed. What information gets displayed you can dictate to us. As you see here with South Padre Island, it is name, address, and then the property management phone numbers. So you can say, we just want an address and a dot, but I really like this. This is an optional system that just allows the community to know what's going on, know where they are located. You can configure what you want to say on the left pane here. They have a link to the hotline and the online complaint form, in which case all of these calls get directed into the 24-hour call center that we have. And I'll go there next. The call center that we have is bilingual, Spanish being the secondary language. And the nice thing about it is you dictate what gets handled in the manner that you want it to. So if a call comes in, it's a noise complaint. You can have the first call go to the owner, second call to the property manager, third call maybe dispatches the proper authority. That's just an example. If trash is piling up and code enforcement handles that, you can certainly have that. The whole point of the system, once you're operating in it, is to let Rentalscape get into the weeds and work for you, and let someone like Christie and everyone else run the overarching program of short-term rentals. There should be no manual processes, there should be no mundane tasks. And so the time utilization is given back to the people that are operating the system at a very efficient level. The last, and certainly not least thing that I want to talk about is just the totality of the system is your scope of work. Yes, we have the compliance measures, we have the reporting, the registration, the tax. You're looking at the public-facing portal, 24-hour hotline. We do have an inspection portal. I understand, changes always happen given regulations, but we are here for the entire end-to-end process as far as short-term rentals are concerned. The nice thing about what it is that we can do is put everything into all one system. So you don't have to toggle between admin rights and dashboards and user admins. Everyone in the city can have a login if they wanted to. It's unlimited amount. As I click this, the internet here is going to kind of gobble up some of the information. But you can see just off of the artificial intelligence bringing in a dashboard, it's already finding, at the high end here, 1,269. I've seen these numbers more than double. I am not promising that to you because I believe you have, over 1,500. Maybe 1,900 might be a little bit overzealous, but I do think you have more than what the current registered amount is. And then you can just see trends in the industry. So you can see your high and low seasons, how much tax revenue, and obviously all of the data that comes into the system can be broken down into an aggregate view for everyone to run the reports from. Okay. And that's pretty much what I had for about 8 minutes or so. Just wanted to open up to questions to see if anyone had anything for me.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
question, have you estimated what you think additional tax revenues we can derive using this?
Yeah, so if I were to go back to that dashboard here, this one just picking up out of the 1,100 or so is generating 19, almost 20 million, give or take. I conservatively have estimated 1,500. On the high end, we saw things obviously before, some of the
1,500 additional?
No, sir. Total. 1,500 was the low total, is what I had. I would probably.
And what do we have registered?
Just under 1,400 right now.
Okay.
So I would probably assume, 1,500 is safe. I would say 1,600 is probably there. 1,700 is probably when I start to say maybe, maybe not. The exact number of short-term rentals, as far as how much you're missing out on, obviously, I can look at the average daily rate and say you're at, for the last month, $203 a night, and that's kind of ticking down into a down season. With an additional 300, occupancy rate of around 20%, 30%, that's about, 70 extra nights or so at $200 a night times 200 new rentals, at 5% on the tax rate. The one thing I would say for the village, I would, and I understand this is recorded, is that the permit fee is actually, I would say, very low at $150. It is always my recommendation that you want to keep short-term rental fees not like your business license. Business license is someone in the community providing service and they're here. Short-term rental, they could be out of the state, out of the country. So at minimum, I would say $350 per year. And that's, when you're looking at an average daily rate of $203+ a night, you're essentially taking one night, less than 2 business days away from them, and 365 opportunities. So you can have it on both sides. I didn't lead with revenue generating, but this system would obviously generate increased revenue to the village for sure.
I have a question there.
Yeah.
Rob, so how does the system, I just had someone at Airbnb by me, and I checked and it wasn't registered. So how would this, how do you pick that up if they're not registered?
Yeah.
Now, they were going through a company, but they hadn't, the company nor the people had registered the house.
Yeah, that's a great question. I will zoom in on an actual customer that we have been partnered up with in Indio, California for many years. And you can see this legend. First of all, this is what separates us. So Airbnb, Vrbo, and here's where we're getting at least a listing, right? So there's a lot of property managers. This is in Indio. I can show Rio Dos in a second, but I wanted to show a completed system. So This bluish tealish color is licensed, these red ones are unlicensed. So we can actually, considering we are data mining every day, if they're advertising online, which I would say 99.9% of them are doing, what it is, it's gonna pop up in a status that is yellow, which is yet to identify. And then our team will go and verify the address to the parcel information and turn that to red if it's not licensed. Then our outreach program will trigger and we'll send them a letter that says, here's a copy of your ad listing. We believe you're operating a short-term rental. Reach out to Decker Technologies if you have any questions with the application process, so on and so forth. From there, you can go into a second letter that's more targeted, where you can find all the people that are not licensed. These would be these red dots in Indio's case. So this is where the second level of that outreach campaign to drive those compliance numbers up. And now you can have a more severe message. This could be, I am a short-term rental owner. It's $1,000 a day fine to operate without a permit. So I make sure there are no days that I'm operating without a permit. So, but whatever your language and your ordinances are, would be the second letter.
Okay,
And that's how the system works.
okay, thank you. That
Absolutely.
makes a lot of sense.
Yes, sir.
So continuing along with that, what you're saying is that your entity would send out and do all this to get someone in compliance? And then how does it get to us, the village, that either they've not complied or we send it out to them? How do we get that?
Yeah, so the village would have control over the outreach letters. We will never send anything without your approval. I would say what, you can take one of our templates or you can write the letter yourself and we'll send it out. We will lick the stamps, we will lick the envelopes, and we will mail it out. Considering we're matching to the parcel information, we know where their primary residence is. So that's how it will go out. Everything is logged if they are sent an outreach letter. And then if they don't comply in 30 days, that's when you can send them the second letter at a frequency of your choosing that just says, hey, we gave you 30 days, the penalty and interest is accruing, please come in and do so, we'll waive it if you get it done by this time. These are just examples on the
Yeah.
wording. However, we will take that responsibility and we'll say, okay, it's time for, the second letter to go out to drive for these remaining 82 people or so.
Thank you.
And that is if the information is registered with the county.
The information.
Sometimes we have a lack of stuff, so you get the information from the county on who the owner is and where the primary residence is.
Yeah, Decker Technologies data mines parcel information through multiple services on our own. We are not relying on the county to give us that data. If they want to give us, we certainly will cross-reference.
So that's how, whether it's recorded with the title company or what?
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
Okay, that's good. And what about a combination of, when we have complaints, how is it registered with the police department and how do we log those?
Yeah, that's a great question as well. So if I were to click into our system here, this icon is specifically for complaints. Everything that gets in, say this right here is an online complaint form, this would be a link on your website. If they have the 24-hour call center, they would call too, but visually, obviously, this is a little bit easier to explain. Just what type of complaint is it? We'll just say noise. What's the address? The public-facing portal that I showed you helps with the accuracy. Brief description, right? It's fireworks on the 4th of July type of thing. It's 2 a.m. I like to go to sleep. They can upload any photo, video, and audio as well. All of that information gets logged into this list view right here where you can run reports, you can see it with certain type of status, you can click into it and see the documentation that was left behind. The same thing with a phone call, if it were to come in, it would be logged in here as well. Now the point of the call center is for the parameters that you tell us to work, and then the resolution comes from the call center, so you're not preoccupied with these complaints. If you needed to be alerted, we can send you an email when these happen, but that's something for the next morning, not night of, unless if it's, you want to take it on your own responsibility.
So for example, complaint, people call the police department. So how does that work?
Yeah, so for a complaint coming in, they would call through the hotline, and you would tell us how you want that call to be handled. So if it's.
So we publicize the hotline.
What's that?
So where does this hotline, where's that publicized?
The hotline the phone number would be right on the website. It would look something like this, like what you see on a short-term rental page.
And
This is another
everybody's
part.
going to have this.
So this is what it is. It's a 24-hour hotline, but you would just put a link on your
Website.
Mhm. And they would call through the hotline. You'd say, hey, I think there's a party going on in a short-term rental. The call center would understand based on the parameters that you tell us how to respond. You can say, okay, let's dial the property manager and say, hey, there's a party, it's late, it's after hours, we have quiet times. And then if the property manager doesn't answer, we can call the owner. And if that doesn't answer or they, haven't resolved it, then you can dispatch the police. That's just an example, but that's just an instruction.
So people are used to doing things a certain way, so they call the police, then we would call your 800 number. So that you would then effect the call to the property manager, then the owner, and then a call back to the police department and say, I can't get a hold of anybody, you need to dispatch.
Yeah, if you wanted it to go through the proper hotline, I would say, route it that way, and then you can take through the normal parameters of what it is you want to be called, and then logged into the system. Some jurisdictions have penalties on complaints and everything else like that. I don't know that part of your regulations on, if you have, just continuous amounts of problems. The one thing I will say is, there is some education that comes with the village on when you expose a 24-hour hotline based on the change of them just calling the police directly now. So it takes time, but one thing I've seen work is just simple little magnet campaigns or, a flyer with their, registration number that just says, hey, here's the call center line, here's the parameters if there's anything. So that way, just everyone kind of understands who to call in these situations and not to tie up, we'll say the police as an example on the first call here.
That's probably what's gonna happen.
Yep. So, we do have some that just don't like short-term rentals, so they have bogus phone calls that we've had to deal with. So how do we log those? There's no party going on over here, you're mistaken. And how do you go about that?
Yeah, so every call is gonna get, logged into the system as you see here. The nice thing about it is you can put it in certain statuses, and the statuses you can create. This is just a simple open and closed, but at the same time, if you wanted to add another category into that based on your example, by all means, you can do that. The system is configurable for your language.
Just scrappy neighbor, yeah, okay. Got it. Okay, so, and I know this is a pretty powerful tool. They showed it to me when I was there, that they can pull up and tell who owns the property. I mean, all their contact information, how many properties they own, who's the largest property owner, all of this stuff. It's pretty powerful information, so.
Well, thanks for bringing this.
Yeah.
Well, it was pretty expensive, when we started, and we were with, I can't remember the other one's name. What one?
GovOS is
It
who
was
we're
before
current
that one.
host.
Host, yeah, Host Compliance was pretty good, and then they got bought out and shelled out and weren't much good. So you guys are a local American company. Do you foresee it staying that way?
Yes, I
Okay,
do.
because that's usually what happens. The good ones get bought out.
So one thing I will say to that point is, there are 4 national companies in this industry, and all of them have acquired or bought a smaller company as a larger portfolio of what it is that they do, and that's not short-term rentals. Decker Technologies is a short-term rental company. This is 99% of what it is that we do, and we have grown entirely organically. So,
Are you privately owned?
yes, we are.
Okay.
And one last thing is that the people and the processes in place are obviously world-class with the technology that's driven behind this, but everyone has an interest in the success of other people in this company. Everyone has equity, so there really is a partnership at this program versus a major conglomerate like some of the people that have been mentioned that maybe kind of lost focus after acquisition. So that's a little bit more than the time I thought I was going to have, so thank you very much. But I'm happy to answer any other questions.
Oh, good question, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
You did touch on the permit fees, and that you're saying that ours is a little bit low, and I agree with that. We've had discussions on that, and you did mention a number there. So with that, I'm sure you had look at other communities and what they've charged and how they've come about with those different rate amounts. So we've had discussions a little bit with the public also and their input, talking of how the larger your house, the more impact you're going to have on the community, which of course is going to have impact on the services that the village supplies, garbage and so on. So in your rate analysis have you ever seen where you had a permit fee? Well, we discussed it and then adding X amount per bedroom beyond one bedroom, because the larger your house, you're figuring that the more they're gonna be earning, but the more guests and the more impact.
Yes, I've seen that across the country. I've seen things called pillow taxes where, it's X amount of dollars per pillow. I've seen same criteria with bedrooms. One thing I will say with the higher permit fee is it is better to run as professional of an operation at less short-term rentals, and this has been proven across the country. So if your current permit fee is around 150, and then it's 110, I believe, and it kind of rotates based on inspections and things like that. One thing I'd say is weeding out the bottom short-term rentals that don't treat it as a business, you'll be okay with them not renewing or operating and having a higher professionally run system with a higher permit fee. This has happened in La Quinta and Indio where they lost, several hundred short-term rentals due to maybe ordinance changes and fees and things like that, and their taxes all increased. Just a couple of rules, I know some jurisdictions already have this, but to run a more professional operation, maybe live within 30, 45 minutes of the home, or you have to hire a local property management company on site. These are all things that Decker Technologies can help with whenever you reshape some regulations, because you want to drive the highest output you can, not in terms of revenue, obviously that's nice, but in terms of just quality of marketplace.
So in that, with what you just said then, so do you all do an analysis of a community and take into account the type of clientele that's coming into the village, the type of residences that are actually short-term rentals, and then formulate or suggest a permit fee with that knowledge?
Absolutely, yes. So we can do that. We have been asked to write complete ordinances, and that might just be just out of our scope of work, but we certainly have partners that can do that as well. And if it comes to that, we can lead you to that time. If it was just tweaking things here and there to drive a certain goal, we absolutely can help with that as well.
Okay, thank you.
This is exciting.
It is. I love it.
Any other questions? Nope. Thank you for your time. And so how long do you think it'll be before we're onboarded, Christie, with all of this?
If we can get it in front of you by by February, when our contract finishes with our current provider, we can go live with Rentalscapes if it's approved.
Did I hear? Go ahead.
When, could you go
February.
live? February?
No, we'd have to have it in front of you all to be able to go live when our contract ends at the end of the end of May. So June 1st, we would be able to go
Oh,
live
June
with
1st.
Rentalscapes.
Got it.
So one thing is going live to the public so that they can operate and use the system. What you're seeing here is not a demo site. It is a live site. It just hasn't been completely verified with our in-house team. If you were like, push a button, let's go, you could get a login tomorrow. I just want to make that very clear. Obviously, the permit registration portal and the tax collection portal need to be built, but just so you understand that it kind of comes in sequences of the services that are provided, but we're data mining you every single day and we're not partnering up, so the transition time to come in on just the base of the system happens very quickly.
Okay.
Anything else? Thanks, sir. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
very
thank
much.
you very much.
Thank you.
Good presentation.
Mayor and council, our next update's going to be the Elk Meadows. I think we just lost our Zoom link there.
No, that wasn't you. You're good.
And we have Richard Aston. He's going to be representing our development company. Richard, are you there?
Hi, yes, I am.
Yvonne, can you pin him so he's on the... All right. Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you, and thank you for accommodating doing this meeting virtually. Our team was in Rio Doso yesterday, meeting with city staff, and we greatly appreciate that. We've been making very good progress with the Elk Meadows development. We are in the final stages of having the plans reviewed and getting the plans completed. We recently conducted additional data testing on site with the geotechnical engineering. We've had additional surveying done so that way we can verify all of the utilities and capacities, and are very appreciative of the city staff assisting with us getting access to the property and collecting the data, because we want to have good information to go into our plans to make sure that we have a nice development that we build and that it's something that is sustainable. So where we are right now is that by the end of this month, our plans are due, the complete set of plans that we will turn into the city and begin the permitting review process. I'm happy that we have all of the capital stack and financing in place. Pioneer Bank has really stepped up, and we're appreciative of them not only providing construction and permanent financing for the development, but they actually are becoming an investor in the fund for the tax credits. That is something that is great, that we've got that local community participation throughout the capital stack. So that's something that is pretty impressive and helps secure the speed of the development. So where we are with our timing is our internal goal of what I'm getting for our consultants and design and everyone is to have a February closing. Depending on, sometimes things slow down a little bit around the holidays here this next couple of weeks. So that may push, it may push into March or so, but very shortly after February, we plan to close and start construction immediately. So once again, we're very happy and appreciative of the support of the village. We would like to have this be the first of many developments that we provide for the community, and I'm here to answer any questions.
How long will it take once we start the construction?
So weather permitting, that's always something. This is at about a 16-month build time.
Okay.
And are these site-built or modular?
They're built on site.
Okay. Adam, you got him all hooked up on the sewer? Okay. Any other questions? We're just excited to get moving.
Richard, did you want to just explain what you informed us yesterday regarding the insurance? You're having to go out and you had 15, inquiries, and you're up to 5. You want to go ahead and just put that out there also?
Yeah, so we started as part of our underwriting process. We have independent brokerages that go across many different insurance carriers, and we do this in all the developments that we do because property insurance nationally is something that is very expensive, and unfortunately, the fire risk score of this property is at a 90, which is on the higher end of the fire risk score. And just to kind of step back. When you get into markets like the property insurance value that we're going for is over $20 million of insurable value. So when you have higher coverages like that, there's fewer carriers that will take a large risk like that. So a lot of times we have to chop it up where we'll go to different carriers for different levels of it. Unfortunately, when we submitted to 15 different markets, we had 10 immediately deny. And it's just locational risk. But we do have 5 that we're talking to right now. And one thing that we may have to do is clear some of the trees on the property. And we'll look at ways that we can repurpose some, obviously not all of them, but some of those trees we could take them to a local mill and make like an accent wall in the community center, maybe use them, for some benches and some amenities outside or something. But by, removing some of the trees, we can present that plan to the insurance companies, and I can bring more people to the table. And you have more people bidding on the coverage, we're going to get a lower rate. So it's a challenge just in general, anywhere in the country. I have a property in Brownsville and Houston, and that's hurricane risk. My property's in Dallas, it's tornado risk. So every place has its its way that, that drives insurance. And so it's just something that we put together a mitigation plan, be thoughtful about design, keep health and safety foremost, and show the carriers what we're doing. So my plan is to go back to the people that said no and sit down with an underwriter and actually talk to some of them, because some of these, they look at a score, they see a fire risk score of 90, and it's automatic denial by computer. And I don't like that. I like to, at least talk to someone, show them the site plan, show them the mitigation plan, show them that, look, we're up against a golf course that has a fire risk score of 50. So it is a lower risk, and show them our mitigation so that way we can work on improving pricing.
Okay.
And Richard, one last question, just the name of the contractor, if you wouldn't mind also informing the council?
Sure. So it's the contractor is actually a part of our development team. It's N3M Contracting, and they built the Wells of Artesia development, and so they would be the general contractor. They'll be putting up 100% payment and performance bond. The funds that we have from MFA have Section 3 requirements that we market to local subcontractors. So once we have the plans out, we would like to share them with the village and also the notices, because we want as much local participation as possible for a lot of the local subs. Because if there's subs that are already there, it makes a lot of sense to use the local companies as opposed to us mobilizing people from other areas in there. But that's what we do. So if we're not able to find all of the workforce that we need, or all of the qualified workforce that we need, we have relationships with a lot of subcontractors that will bring them in and get the job done.
All right. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
Alex, you have anything to add?
Just to say, we are looking forward to seeing those final plans and getting the work coming up out of the ground.
Yeah, absolutely. And so when do we think that we'll start? I want to hear it again in February.
They're looking for a February closing, and hopefully construction starting shortly after that. Yeah.
Right. We plan to start immediately after our closing. February is our internal deadline. And again, give about 30 days within that. But we're pushing really hard, and it does look like we're able to, make that schedule.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate it. We're looking forward to it. Long time coming.
Thank you, Richard. Mayor and council, our final presentation today is going to be from Ashley Carbajal and Adam Sanchez. This is on the lead and copper rule. These are revisions and just some updates that Ashley and her team has received from the EPA and for the Mexico Environmental Department.
Well, the Rosanna Anadana memo, never mind.
Yes.
So I just want to kind of give a little history about the copper rule revision. So the lead and copper rule revision was announced on January 15th, 2021 by the EPA. This required all water systems within the nation to create an initial inventory of water service lines, both the utility side and the private side, by October 16th of 2024 and submit this to the state. Within 30 days of the submission to the state, we were required to notify property owners of the status of their property if they were deemed to either have galvanized lines, unknown lines, or lead lines. The letters that we sent out did not include any lead lines. We did not find it in the initial inventory that we did. We sent out 5,315 unknown letters and 240 galvanized letters to property owners. The village, I do want to make this clear, the village did conduct copper and lead sampling in September 2023, and we had no findings of lead. All right, so.
No finding of lead in the water.
In the water.
But yeah, we still have lead pipe. That's the,
We don't have lead
we
pipe.
don't
have
have lead
galvanized pipe, and
Galvanized,
that's why we
that's
had
what
to
I'm
send
thinking.
out these letters. And so there was some confusion on my part when it came to the EPA terminology. You have the initial inventory and you have a baseline inventory. When I hear those terms, I think the same thing. They are apparently not the same thing. Your initial inventory is what we submitted to the state in 2020, or in October, with the letters that went out. The baseline inventory is just a little tiny step above, which is what we are actually currently doing right now, and that's verifying every single house that is out there. That's all the baseline is. That one has the date of November 1st, 2027, so I do apologize about that.
Ashley, forgive my ignorance, but I didn't get a letter.
So the nice
But
part,
A neighbor of mine did get a letter, so.
go ahead.
How did that work?
So, Mayor Crawford, Counselor Corey, one of the inventory that we did, if you were part of that inventory, if your house was built after 1986, or you were verified, you would not get that letter.
Okay.
So that means your house is in the clear. You shouldn't have any concern.
So it's the house itself, not necessarily the subdivision.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
one thing, if property owners would like to help the village out, to kind of get their name off the list, because we do have to send these letters out every year to these property owners who are unknown or who have galvanized lines, is they can send us a plumbing record of what's in their house or what's their service line, by a certified plumber, and we can go ahead and file that into our system and take them off the unknown list.
Yeah.
Kind of what's coming into the future. A site sample plan will be due January 1st of 2028. This is how the village plans on addressing these unknown lines, or if there were galvanized lines, how the village plans on replacing these lines and the timeline that we're looking at to replace. We are also working on, I'm working with Adam and with procurement to start getting an ITB ready to go, to get boots on the ground to help with this inventory as well, to help cut down on the unknown, so that way we don't have to send out as many letters next year. We're also working, the village is also working very diligently on updating data into the SWIFT submittal system that's provided by NMED. This system will allow the village to quickly update an address once we get updated information. And then there's some funding options that the village can take. These are all loan options for the most part. One is the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund, Water Infrastructure Finance and Innovation Act program, and then the CDBG grants. There is water sampling if homeowners do want to get their water sampled. Hall Environmental Analysis Lab, I did call them and confirm with them. They do lead sampling. They are state certified. They just need to reach out, homeowners can reach out to this Hall, to the Hall Environmental Lab, and they will work with them to get their water sampled. It's roughly $80. That includes taxes and fees, though.
Okay.
Where are they located?
They're in Albuquerque,
In Albuquerque?
but they will work with the property owner to get that sample shipped off over to them.
Okay.
So, lesson learned from this last mail out. Next year, will we kind of be more proactive and say
Yes,
you
we
may
will,
be-
and
Okay.
I think the fires, and I know it's not an excuse, but the fires and floods really kind of threw a wrench into the
Sure.
process that we were doing.
Sure.
And so we do plan on doing PSAs to individuals,
Great.
reaching out, trying to get as many unknowns off this list.
Yeah.
That way, next year, we sent over 5,000 letters out. Let's reduce that down.
Anything else? Okay, thank you, Ashley.
All right,
Thank you very much.
You
And
didn't
Miss-
say nothing, man.
And Mayor and Council Adam was at the SERPTO meeting today, so just didn't know he brought us home some money or what?
Did you really?
It's getting that time of the year. We'll be bringing to council just the applications for the LGRF, local government road funds will be coming quick, so have a lot of things moving with the new year. And Mayor and Council, I'll stand for any additional questions on the manager's report.
Ron, two quick questions. On the building inspection report, in the comments section, a couple of items say FTG. What does that mean?
I'm going to have Alex come in.
Okay.
That's his department there. Do you know that offhand?
I do not know that offhand, so I will get you an email out to explain what that is.
Okay, thanks. And then Ron, and I'm a broken record, what's the status with Kinetics? And do they have an approximate completion date?
December 2025 is what I remember the last one.
That was, Mayor Crawford, Councilor Corey, that was the date that Johnny gave us, Johnny Montoya. He's the state, he's the vice president of state with the New Mexico part of Windstream. And he did say when we did the extension to December of 25, correct, Jenny? We did that to the end of December. And there is a lot of crews out there. I know I've asked him for status updates on that, and I know Robin's working with him also, but I'll see if we can get him over here the first meeting in January and give us another update and bring his engineer with him.
I had emailed you the coax cables
Yes.
behind the dog park.
And that there was from Windstream, and Adam went and looked at that, and I notified Windstream. Has that been?
They moved it, Adam, off the trail, but it's still exposed.
Okay.
Are they gonna bury that?
Mayor Crawford, Councilor Corey, I'm believing that might have been their line that they ran to when we had the temporary shelter.
Yes.
That's what I'm thinking, but we'll let them know if they don't remove it, then we'll,
I was gonna pull it out, that day that I went over there. But
Yeah.
but it was connected to the box, and I was like, I talked to Ron, and we called them, so if it's still there, I'll just go cut it, and we'll take it out of there.
Yeah, it's still on.
Yep. It seems like it's an abandoned line, but I didn't mention it to them, and they said they would have somebody. I had TDS go look at it, they text me back, said it's not our line, so.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Great report, as usual.
Okay. All right, then we'll move on to reports from municipal officials. Would you like to start, Mayor Pro Tem?
Sure. Excellent programs for our citizens with the tree lighting and the parade and all. And tomorrow, Thursday is the RSVP appreciation dinner at the high school. Would encourage that. And again, everybody's dedicated work throughout the whole year. They're very well to be recognized in their work. I was sorry to see Charlie leaving. I remember when he first started working here, and I can't believe it's been 25 years, but he was a dedicated worker and did a lot of stuff back for Leonard back in the day. There was something else I was going to mention, Mayor, but I hope to go skiing on Christmas, so everybody have a Merry Christmas.
Councilor Letterman?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. On last Thursday, we had Pasoli at the community center, and Anthony and Amber and his staff, wonderful job. The spaghetti was excellent. And then the Christmas tree lighting was just absolutely wonderful. And one other thing, I would like to let the council and the mayor know that how much the school athletics appreciates the police and the firemen. They're going to all the activities. At least they have one or two representatives. And I think that it's, I think that it's very useful. I know we had one time a kid that got hurt volleyball, and I believe it was Cade ran down and helped. And, just to have them there, play in different teams like Tularosa. The police telling our people, get in your cars, get in your cars. So I really appreciate it, and so does everyone else. So thank you very much for doing that. That's a nice service. I appreciate it. And Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Joseph?
Well, thank you, Mayor. Just want to recognize and remember December 7th when Pearl Harbor was attacked, that we never forget that. Councilor Jackson and I were talking about that a little bit earlier, and it's just important that we don't forget these days in history that really impacted us, our nation, and many of our ancestors who fought and didn't make it. So thank you to all of them. Thank you for the Parks and Rec, for every other department that helped out with the Christmas tree lighting, with the decorations and so.
Flawless,
Yep.
Yes,
flawless.
flawless.
It was about a second off, Mayor. I was watching your finger and
I
it
was
was,
pointing and Santa Claus jumped in between me and the switch. So,
Well, I was assured that it was gonna go flawless, that they were all telling me, man, we got it down, we double checked, we've got it synced.
their biggest concern was the mayor was gonna start the countdown backwards again.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
1, 2, 3,
You know,
4.
count down with me. 1, 2. What's wrong with y'all?
I did hear rumors of that night also. Do you remember that one time when Mayor Robert?
Yeah.
Yes, so there are many people out there who do recall that.
Long memories.
Yes, but looking forward to and the Festival of Lights Parade was very, very good. So thank you for all the participants in that.
Yes.
And if I don't see you all at the Village Christmas Party, I'll see you all next year. Merry Christmas.
Excellent. Would you like to go, Counselor Corey?
Yes, sir. Ditto on Wingfield Park, Matthew. I've heard from a couple of people that live in the neighborhood, and they said and T-Bone, it looks even better than it did last year, and last year looked great, so kudos to you and your team. Also want to tell the mayor, your comments
Yes.
when they lit the tree were entirely appropriate, and very heartfelt.
We were very shocked.
I
that they were
appreciate the email from Judge Potter about the court, and I was wondering, are we gonna have an open house, or?
We should.
Okay. And then the last thing, this 2024 is a year I know many of us are looking forward to saying goodbye to, so best wishes for a happy new year.
Counselor Jackson?
Mr. Mayor, I just ditto everything that's been said. I know they had radio controls on the lighting this year, so there would be no embarrassment, so. And they were all on edge, so.
Yes, they
But
were.
what amazed me was how black that park was, and then suddenly, I mean, it lit up like Rockefeller Center. I did have one shout out to Josh and his crew. Apparently, not uncommonly, we have contractors that are dumping right on the roads and blocking them. And this particular one that I witnessed was right on that hairpin curve of Country Club as you're going down toward those cabins. And they were out there with front-end loaders and graders and everything, trying to get this stuff shoveled out of the way before somebody ran into it or there was an accident, because it was down to one lane only. A lot of positive feedback on, I think, probably the theme of the Parade of Lights. People in the village seem to be looking up and looking out. I just wanted to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. I know it's okay to say that now. I would anyway. And a Happy New Year.
Counselor Hooker?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So unfortunately, the lighting, am I turned off?
Yep.
The lighting of the Christmas tree was rather traumatic for me. I saw Santa Claus, and when he went by, he said, "Keep working on it." So I'm pretty upset right now. But I'll get through it. I'm going to try on the 18th over at the library.
Nice.
Are you?
Yeah, to be Santa Claus.
Awesome.
I would mirror everything everybody said and just say, it's a great place to be. Glad to be here. Thank you all. Happy holidays.
All right, thank you. We'll move on, but before we do, you always give credit where credit's due. A lot of the words that I said were written by my dear friend Carrie Gladden, so I give her stuff and she's like, and she writes it, and then it's like, what are we arguing about?
It was very, very.
No, it was.
It almost
She's-
brought me to a tear.
Yeah, she's very good at those things, and it was all heartfelt. we talk about the overall message and what the intent is, and then we always get there. It is very true, it takes a bunch of people to make all this work. And I'm definitely that person that needs all that work, so. But we appreciate it. It was all good. Everybody did a great job. The parade out here was wonderful, so off to a good year. And I know Christmas is just around the corner. It doesn't seem like it just is already here. Discussions, regular items. Item number 1, discussion and possible action on adoption of Resolution 2025-01, a resolution establishing an annual schedule of governing body and boards, commissions, meetings, and determining reasonable notice for public meetings of the Village of Ruidoso.
Yes, so Mayor and council members, what you have before you is resolution required by the Open Meetings Act, declaring the annual schedule of meetings of the governing body and their boards and commissions.
And Mayor, if you recall at our workshop, I mentioned about changing the meeting time to in the morning on the regular meetings. If that could be discussed here, if any of the other counselors feel, if not, I'm comfortable leaving it at 1 o'clock, but I just felt that we could get more stuff done in the day and be a lot more alert, especially with staff,
And that was at 9?
to start at 9 in the morning. But again, it's up to you guys. I'm just
We
suggesting.
can certainly have discussion on it. My only thing about that is I know most of my productivity during the day is between 8 and 11 o'clock, when you're able to be fresh, hit it hard and whatnot. That's my only take. Does anybody else, do we want to have some more discussion over it?
Mr. Mayor, from my point, it's whatever. I'll do whatever for the
That's not much
good of the
help.
order. I know, it's not. I'm a retired guy, so.
Yeah, you can,
Mr. Mayor, I applaud Darren's forthright comments on time, but there are a couple of concerns I would have with the 9 o'clock meeting. Not so much for us to show, because we have other 9 o'clock meetings, but it's getting the people that, behind the scenes, that get all this organized and ready for us to go. Because there are things that occur the day of this meeting that are changed or upgraded that wouldn't necessarily occur the night before.
Is that true?
And I don't think that it's going to help the public at large, because I don't think they'll be here. And I think it was enough of a change to go, when you used to have midnight meetings, now that was outrageous, but I think moving it from 6, I think it was 6 in the evening, then to 1, people have adjusted to that. And I think it just seems to be a better working time. And I agree with although I am unemployed, well, almost, that golden hour in the morning for most people is when they get their work done. And so if they're going to appear before us, they want that out of the way before they come, or they won't go. And that's my real concern for the public at large.
Corey, do you have any comment?
I'm okay either way. I do echo Counselor Jackson's comments. I know sometimes, and this morning as an example, I visit with Ron on an agenda item. If we had the meeting at 9, I don't know if he would have had time to talk to me, so.
Susan?
I personally would like it at 9. But, I mean, and I understand about people coming and maybe the staff. I would just think that the staff would already be ready, but I do know that things occur, but this is our meeting. And it just seems to me that if you need to be here, you would make available to be here. And so I would like for it to be at 9.
Joseph?
Well, personally, I think that if we started at 9 o'clock, that you're putting a lot of burden on the village staff and this and that. They've got to get themselves ready, be here, and also the way it is right now, I think that most of the time they're out of here by 5 o'clock, so it's almost like a regular work day. so they're ending with the meeting. I don't know if they're gonna fall, I guess some of them sleep during it, but sometimes I do too. Not really. But anyway, I personally think it's probably better the way it is. I don't know if there's anybody that sitting out there would like to comment, but I think that it would be, I think it's personally better for them. And yes, it is our meeting, but we're also here to work with them,
Absolutely.
work with the staff, to work with the workers. And I think I know that when I work, that if I don't start working by 11 o'clock, I'm ready for a nap. For some reason, if I don't work, I actually get tired if I don't start working. So I don't know if people are like me, but yeah, I'd rather, if I was working, get going in the morning and then come to the meeting and go home.
Ron, do you have any input?
Mayor Crawford, members of the council, I believe myself and staff, whatever decision the council would make, we would make it work. We already have a workshop at 8 o'clock for our workshop, and we'll make it happen. I mean, it's not gonna, I don't think it'll be any, talking to Jenny a little bit, and we have the agenda items ready to go, but I don't see an issue either way.
Okay.
Mr. Diplomat,
What's up?
Mr. Diplomat.
Oh, yeah, I know. I don't even know why I asked him. Just wasting some air. I'd entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move to approve Resolution 2025-01, a resolution establishing an annual schedule of governing body and boards commission meetings and determining reasonable notice for public meetings of the Village of Ruidoso, with the amendment of making the regular council meeting at 9 a.m. instead of 1 p.m.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please, ma'am.
Counselor Salas?
Aye.
Counselor Letterman?
Aye.
Counselor Eby?
No.
Counselor Hooker?
No.
Counselor Jackson?
No.
Counselor Corey?
No. Okay,
There it goes.
motion fails.
Stay as is.
Stay as is at 1 o'clock.
It stays as is, yes.
Okay. All right, thank you, everybody.
But with that, does that
Would you need a
make
new
the,
motion?
yeah,
You need to
make
make a
the
new one?
resolution null and
So we
void?
need to make a new motion.
Yeah, I think as a point of clarification, what you had there was a vote on the amendment,
Yes.
which voted down. Then you would come back and say, now we're going to vote on the motion as it stands without the addendum.
Yeah.
If we would do that, then I think that will clear and give you the green light you need.
Could I get a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve adoption of Resolution 2025-01, a resolution establishing an annual schedule of governing body and boards and commission meetings and determining reasonable notice for public meetings of the Village of Ruidoso.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please, ma'am.
Counselor Hooker?
Aye.
Counselor Jackson?
Aye.
Counselor Corey?
Aye.
Counselor Salas?
No.
Counselor Letterman?
Aye.
Counselor Eby?
Aye.
Okay, passes. Thank you very much. And that's the way it's done, people. Item number 2, discussion and possible action on agreement between the Village of Ruidoso and the Ruidoso Jockey Club, Inc., to operate a full-service restaurant at 118 Lakeshore Drive, Alto, New Mexico.
Good morning, or good afternoon, Mayor and Council. So this is, I'm going to give you a little bit of history on how we got to this point, and then go over the item. So on November 7th, we put out an RFQ, request for quotes, for operation of what we refer to as the Tree House. It's the building at Alto Lake. Normally, operations of those kinds are done through a small service agreement. However, because the Ruidoso Jockey Club had shown interest in this property, we decided to go out for a bid to be transparent and to give everybody an opportunity. We did advertise in the Ruidoso newspaper on the November 7th. We had one drawdown, which was the Ruidoso Jockey Club. Bids were submitted on November 26th. there was only one submission from the Ruidoso Jockey Club. However, due to a small clerical error,
I screwed up.
Due to a clerical error, it was deemed non-responsive. However, since they were the only bid and only drawdown, we decided to proceed with the small service agreement, how we normally would do these kind of contracts and these kinds of rentals for our facilities. And so what you have in you is in front of you.
Point of order, Zach, you're okay with that?
Yes, and so what you have in front of you is the contract for the rental of the treehouse, at 118 Lakeshore Drive at Alto Lake for operation. The Ruidoso Jockey Club wants to operate it as a full-service restaurant, and so it is. This in front of you is the contract for that, and it's just approving of it. I'll stand for any questions.
I saw the dates. What days does it close? I'll clarify.
So the contract is for January 1st through December 31st of 2025. They are open Tuesday through Sunday,
Okay.
except for Christmas and Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving, right?
And speaking of dates, I was curious if there's an anticipated opening date, or is it too fluid?
It's too fluid. We're in the process of waiting for there's a lot of work going on in that parking lot with removing the soil. So we've been working with MP Chavez and what's his name? Cody Wilson, on when they're going to be able to do it. And so there was about 20,000 more tons that were approved to be taken out. So I'm going to have a lot of construction on the inside, the gas lines, so I'm getting ready to start all that.
How bad is it? I haven't been.
The walls, they'd got it, well, you can tell more.
Yeah, it still has solid bones, but there is definitely, in the kitchen area, there's some work that needs to be done. They cut a opening where they were gonna put a door and just cut the electrical and the plumbing out, and didn't actually, not like it should have been, rerouted. They were gonna put in a temporary wall. There is a temporary wall in, but it's not built how it should be, so that will have to come out.
So it's nothing structural?
No, it's
There was some burning on the back of the property that somebody very thoughtfully got over there and jerked the wood off and saved the building. But a lot of this is just upgrading. We had a master electrician look at some things that's going to need to be done. The toilets have been setting a long time, a lot of them, they're etched. So we've had some people look at it, see if they think they can be clean or if I'm going to have to replace them. Their ADA, we'll make sure that's compliant.
Some things like range hoods in the kitchen. It didn't have suppression hoods. It had basically free flow air hoods, and so.
They're no longer legal.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I had one other question. We talked this morning about the rent. Can you kind of walk us through how that number was arrived at?
The rent value was based on, I spoke to two realtors in town who do commercial real estate. They went to work and crunched some numbers based on the data that they have and provided, there was a range between, I think it was like 1,600 up to maybe 2,800, something like that. So just talking to the prospective tenant, we agreed to that number to be presented to you guys to put your final stamp on, but that's the way it was arrived at.
Okay.
It was done in a year-long amount, just because originally I did it month to month, but then I was talking to the realtor who gave me the year-long, quoted me for a year's rent, and it just reminded me that I've talked to other commercial realtors on other deals where it's kind of like they talk in years instead of months, so I just wrote it like that, but we can do whatever you guys want.
Okay, but the point is, we got some independent numbers.
Yes.
We did, yeah, and we had previously had somebody renting that they just walked on the lease because they couldn't deal with it, but we were renting it to them for $2,000.
It was at 2,000 previously, and I think this is at 25.
25 is.
And the square footage we found out is roughly 1,200 square feet. We actually had to go back and pull the.
1,200, wow, that's not very big.
No, it's not a very big.
It's not a very big building.
No, not at all.
So primarily, there's going to be some small seating, a lot of delivery, a lot of takeout, and then as the duck pond and everything is rebuilt or whatever, we'll work with Parks and Rec on the possibility of doing kayaks and, that kind of stuff to help facilitate things for the lake and whatnot as it's able to open.
And it does also have a small outdoor patio area, as well as, we'll of course have, Parks and Rec will have picnic tables and all that kind of stuff out there too, that people can basically take to go and then enjoy it near the lakeside.
What kind of food?
It's going to be global influence, mainly Asian Chinese. Good. Jackie-san.
Oh,
And we're going to have some fun, is all I can tell you. I'm trying to keep employees, because with everything that's going on at the track, I've got employees that have been with me a long time, and I've got to find something for them to do, and the board was gracious enough to say, sure.
And Mr. Mayor, wasn't that originally, there was a lot of takeout, but wasn't it originally just a mini Pizza Hut?
Pizza joint.
It had a pizza oven.
And we're still going to use that. I've already talked to Everett Brophy, whose family had that. He's showing us how to use the pizza, so we'll have regular pizza plus kimchi pizza, and try to make it a fun, eclectic place, very clean, very stylish. Sell a lot of apparel. Is the
Mayor, I've got a
goal.
question.
Yes, sir?
I'm just going to ask on the, as far as the payments, because in lieu of the 24,000, that they'll do some contracting, upgrading, this, that, and the other thing. And it also says that it will, the contractor will adhere to all state and federal laws. So, and of course, they got to show the receipt to get reimbursed. So what is the process of hiring the contractor doing this work and having, let's say, your subcontractors, whether it be electrical, plumbing, and so on, do they have to go out and go for bid? Or do they have to bring in any type of, let's say, proposals?
We will not. So the renovation is the responsibility of the contractor of this contract, which would be the Ruidoso Jockey Club. So they don't have to fall within the village's bidding guidelines. Now, any design or changes like that does have to be approved by the village. However, it doesn't have to go through the same purchasing structure because they're the ones doing the purchasing and the bidding of it.
And so we have a contractor out of Tularosa, Alamogordo, that's already been up, looked at it, licensed electrician, HVAC, plumber on the gas lines. And then one of the things, we're having the septic system inspected. I haven't been able to get anybody over there, so we'll put the rush on that to try to get that done, to find out what because it's just been sitting vacant so long.
That area too, when you go by, it does smell like sewer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about the treehouse, but right there where the Incredible used to be, riding in the Jeep without a top, it's like, dadgum.
Well, we want to get rid of that dadgum.
Yes.
For sure. We don't want that over there.
Mr. Mayor, move to approve agreement between the Village of Ruidoso and the Ruidoso Jockey Club, Inc. to operate a full-service restaurant at 118 Lakeshore Drive, Alto, New Mexico.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please, ma'am.
Counselor Jackson?
Aye.
Counselor Solis?
Aye.
Counselor Corey?
Aye.
Counselor Hooker?
Aye.
Counselor Letterman?
Aye.
Counselor Eby?
Aye.
All right, thank you,
Thank you.
folks. Thanks, Matthew.
Yes, sir.
Item number 3, discussion on possible action on agreement with Hub International for insurance broker services awarded via RFP number 2025-003P.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. So this is the contract for the RFP that we discussed last week with Hub. We had 9 firms draw down on that RFP, 5 submitted proposals to be evaluated, and Hub by far was the highest scoring with the panel. So this is just the contract for them. It's a 1-year contract, January 1, 2025 to December 31, 2025, with up to 3 1-year renewals.
Mayor, I'll make a motion.
You go.
I'll make a motion to approve agreement with Hub International for insurance broker services awarded via RFP number 2025-003P.
Second.
Okay, discussion? Roll call, please, ma'am.
Counselor Eby?
Aye.
Counselor Jackson?
Aye.
Counselor Corey?
Aye.
Counselor Hooker?
Aye.
Counselor Solis?
Aye.
Counselor Letterman?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Item number 4, discussion and possible action on adoption of Resolution 2024-45, a resolution amending the Village of Ruidoso Personnel Policy, Chapter 16, Section 7, Dress and Appearance.
Mayor and council, this is a resolution to discuss the changing of the dress code policy with the village. We've currently had pretty lax dress code in the personnel policy, and we like to bring some specifics and guidelines to our staff, so that's not open for so much for interpretation. The section will talk about proper dress, grooming, and personal cleanliness, making that the work environment comfortable for employees, and then just represent the village in a positive manner, and that it'll be an ongoing requirement of employment with the Village of Ruidoso. Not much changed on the uniformed personnel section. Just a little wording here and there. We did add that departments that require employees to be in uniform shall have a standard operating procedure, for dress code and uniform requirements, and I'll work with those directors to initiate those. And then for non-uniformed personnel, we did include that clothing should be neat, clean, professional, not torn, and appropriate for conducting business. We added in that identification badges should be worn or held by the employee during their work hours. And then we do have a chart in there for appropriate and inappropriate dress for the staff. This isn't anything too drastic, but if you look in the inappropriate column, we do want to get rid of the exercise wear, the spaghetti straps, low-cut tops and things.
Cheryl, have you had any feedback?
I had a little bit of feedback on, we had some discussions on different types of shoes, but I haven't had,
Open-toed versus not?
yes, yeah. I haven't had much feedback on that, and again, personally, I don't think we're asking too much. I think that we're being reasonable. I think that goes along with the level of service that we want to provide our customers, and this is all part of it. The village manager or designee must approve any requests for deviations to the dress code in advance. And then the last section of this talks about failure to follow dress code. Employees would be sent home without pay to change clothes. I'll stand for any questions.
I move that we accept and adopt the resolution 2024-45, a resolution amending the Village of Ruidoso Personnel Policy, Chapter 16, Section 7, Dress and Appearance.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Counselor Letterman?
Aye.
Counselor Hooker?
Aye.
Counselor Corey?
Aye.
Counselor Jackson?
Aye.
Counselor Salas?
Aye.
Counselor Eby?
Thanks, Cheryl.
Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you.
Number 5, discussion and possible action on award of High Loop Water System Improvements, Project ITB 2025-003B to J&H Services, Inc. for the installation of approximately 18,535 linear feet of 6-inch C900 PVC waterline hydrants, gate valves, combination air valves, and related appurtenances required to replace the existing asbestos cement waterline. Yes, sir.
Mayor, council, this
I think I'm almost recognized you, man. You're losing weight so much.
Thank you.
I mean, does anybody notice?
Oh, my goodness. You look
It's
great.
a stress. No, I'm just kidding.
I think he's thinking about retirement
I think
already.
he is too.
He's got that Speedo hanging in there from when he was in swim class.
Hey, I gotta fit into it, right?
Well, is it an American flag? That's
Okay, I'm sorry, I digress. Go ahead.
Mayor, council, this is just the award of the contract for J&H Services for the Country Club subdivision. For the water line replacement, J&H is actually the one that did the Pine Cliff subdivision for us.
And did a spectacular job.
Good job.
And this is just for to award.
Yes, sir.
Can I get a motion?
I make a motion to approve award of High Loop Water System Improvements Project, ITB number 2025-003B, to J&H Services, Inc., for the installation of approximately 18,535 linear feet of 6-inch C900 PVC water line, hydrants, gate valves, combination air valves, and related appurtenances required to replace the existing asbestos cement water line.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please, ma'am.
Counselor Hooker.
Aye.
Counselor Jackson.
Aye.
Counselor Corey.
Aye.
Counselor Salas.
Aye.
Counselor Letterman.
Aye.
Counselor Eby.
Beautiful. Item number 6 is discussion and possible action on agreement with J&H Services, Inc. for installation of approximately 18,535 linear feet of 6-inch C900 PVC water line, hydrants, gate valves, combination air valves, and related appurtenances required to replace the existing asbestos cement water line on the High Loop Water System Improvements Project awarded via ITB number 2025-003 bid. B, in the amount of $6,295,867.39, including New Mexico GRT.
Mayor and council, this is a contract. A portion of this was funded by Water Trust Board. The other part is coming out of our GEO bonds.
Any further questions? Can I get a motion, please?
Mr. Mayor, move to approve agreement with J&H Services, Inc. for the installation of approximately 18,535 linear feet of 6-inch C900 PVC water line, hydrants, gate valves, combination air valves, and related appurtenances. Boy, that's a hard one. Require. Well,
If the Okie can get it.
Darren was my lead. Required to replace the existing asbestos cement water line on the High Loop Water System Improvement Project, awarding via ITB number 2025-003B in the amount of $295,867,039, including New Mexico GRT.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Counselor Jackson.
Aye.
Counselor Letterman.
Aye.
Counselor Eby.
Aye.
Counselor Salas.
Aye.
Counselor Hooker.
Aye.
Counselor Corey.
Aye.
Thank you, Adam.
Thanks, Adam.
Thank you.
Okay, here we go. Item number 7, discussion and possible action on award of ITB number 2025-004B, Alto Lakes Disc Golf Course to Dynamic Dookie Corp. Yes, gentlemen?
Good afternoon again, Mayor and Council. So this is to add another additional disc golf course to the Village of Ruidoso. What this disc golf course will allow us to do is actually host professional disc golf tournaments. And so the actual PDGA, which is disc golf's version of the PGA, is actually wanting to host tournaments here. We actually plan on hosting a tournament, a senior tournament or a Masters tournament here next year. And we are one course shy of being able to host their majors. And this will allow us to host their major events. And so this course is slated to go back behind Alto Dam on the south side of Eagle Creek right there, along the trail on our property. We went out to ITB for this on the November 21st. It was advertised. We did hold a pre-bid conference, non-mandatory, on November 27th. Potential bidder Dynamic Dookie was the only person to show up to that pre-bid conference. We did have 2 bidders acknowledge receipt of the proposal, or of the, I'm just blanking.
Drawdown.
Yeah, drawdown. Thank you, sir. Which was Dynamic Dookie Corp. and K5 Services LLC. We did, bids were submitted on December 4th at 3 p.m. We did received 2 bids, one from Dynamic Dookie, one from K5 Services. However, the K5 Services was deemed non-responsive. They did not submit the proper paperwork with their bid.
Are they aware of that, Matthew?
Yes, our purchasing department has made them aware of that.
That would have been my question, if I can, real quick, just because when you look in here, it says Adhering to section 3, response content, format, and organization. B, number of originals or copies. Do I infer then that when they turned in their packet, there was not enough of whatever was needed from
Correct.
1 to 20?
Correct, because you have to have an original, a copy, and a digital copy.
And that's clearly stated.
Yes, and they just submitted an original. That was all they submitted.
Mayor, a couple of questions. Matthew, what's the ownership of Dynamic?
So Dynamic Dookie is owned by Everett Brophy, which also owns Dynamic
the
Disc
shop.
and the Disc Shop. The reason it is bid under Dynamic Dookie and not Dynamic Disc is because Dynamic Dookie does hold all the construction insurances and stuff that are needed for this type of project. So we bid it under that company versus Dynamic Disc.
Second question, this is building the disc course,
Yes, sir.
but your department will basically manage it.
Maintain it, yes, sir.
Yeah, they're not managing it, they're just.
Because that's our
Ju-
property.
Just constructing it, it's, yes, sir, mayor and council. And actually, part of this, part of the scope of work is though building out a maintenance plan. So they will build out a maintenance plan, and part of it is actually them training our staff on how to properly maintain that disc golf course. So it'll show them where the fairways are, how they should be maintained, mowed, things like that. That is part of the scope of work for this project as well.
And so this was a grant from the state's Outdoor Recreation Division?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And he's previously built one on Ski Run Road, Moon Mountain.
Mountain.
Yes.
And with a name like Dookie.
That's why I had to ask.
Yes, yeah, that's why I had to bid it that way, though.
It'd been more exciting if it'd been Doobie.
Yeah.
I move that we give contract to Dynamic Dookie of Alto Lake Disc Golf Course awarded via ITB 2025-004B in the amount of $129,825, incling NMGRT.
Just a point of order, I think we're on, that was
It was
item
on
8.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I apologize.
On 7.
I should have said something. I,
You were reading it so beautifully, and I was still thinking about Dookie.
oh, that was I apologize. I move that we accept the award of ITB number 2025-004B, Alto Lake Disc Golf Course to Dynamic Dookie Corporation.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please, ma'am.
Counselor Letterman?
Aye.
Counselor Eby?
Aye.
Counselor Salas?
Aye.
Counselor Hooker?
Aye.
Counselor Jackson?
Aye.
Counselor Corey?
And just a background, he bought a septic system. Was it Ruidosa Septic?
Yes, Ruidosa Septic.
So he
He bought-
renamed it Dynamic Dookie.
So he had Dynamic Disc,
So
now
he's-
this is Dynamic
He's
Dookie.
trying to beat Isaac and the guys down at the wastewater treatment plant out of being number one in the number two business. So,
Too much information.
Not a business I want to, I told him, I was like, I'll help you with anything but that business.
Somebody's got to do it.
item number 8, discussion and possible action on the aforementioned, so beautifully read. Item, contract with Dynamic Dookie for Alto Lake Disc Golf Course, award via ITB 2025-004B in the amount of $129,825, 0 cents, including New Mexico GRT.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor and Council, so this is the contract for that ITV to,
And it was
do
a
construction.
grant.
Yes, it was paid for by a grant, the Trails Plus grant from the Outdoor Recreation Division. And this grant can only be used for recreational opportunities. It cannot be used for anything else like roads or water lines or anything like that.
And Mr. Mayor, did we have any match to it, any portion?
So this one, it does require a match, however, it's pretty open. It's any improvements we do in our parks can be considered match, and so we have more than met the match this year for this.
Mayor, if I may, I was trying to look on the scope of work. Is it planned that we could expand this area to a 27-hole course or to set up for a youth course?
So it's not in this scope of work, however, there is a portion that's actually on the south side of the lake that is future expansion for.
That could be, okay.
Yes,
I
that's
just
the plan,
wanted
would
to
be
sure,
future expansion for the
because
kids' church.
I tried, when we were doing also, I was trying to get a 36-hole to get those masters here, since we were already getting Moon Mountain going. But, I mean, I'm glad we're getting this there, but that was the other question I had about for the youth tournaments.
And we do have some plans to do some alternative, and it's, we can actually do it mostly in-house, but to expand Wingfield Park into the Mashburn property, put temporary holes where we can expand into the Mashburn property to make a full 18 hole out of Wingfield Park. The Masters, the upper levels of the Masters especially, Wingfield Park is ideal, or actually even possibly a little bit of a long course for them. And so we will be able to expand a few holes in Wingfield Park as well as adding some to the Mashburn lot, caddy corner to it for those type of tournaments.
Do we get any direct fees, or is it all indirect through lodger's tax as far as the users?
It's all indirect. It's free to use any of our disc golf courses.
Well, Mayor, since I already read it, can I say?
Yeah.
I move-
Ditto. So moved, huh?
Hey, what I said before.
But I do want to make a comment on T-Bone part, 30 years, right? 29 years. T-Bone was pushing for a disc golf course for our community 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And in '06, I believe, that's when he designed the Grindstone 9-hole.
Yep.
And I battled my brother because he was the water plant operator on just getting the 9 holes there. And it just expanded, but I give him credit for design. I'm glad he's on staff to review these plans and all the plans that have come. So thank you, T-Bone, for your dedication.
Thank you.
Second to that motion.
Thank you.
Any other Dookie discussion? Can't wait to hear the championship Masters at the Dookie course. I can't imagine the t-shirts. That's some swag. Roll call, please.
Counselor Letterman?
Aye.
Counselor Jackson?
Aye.
Counselor Corey?
Aye.
Counselor Hooker?
Aye.
Counselor Salas?
Aye.
Counselor Eby?
All right.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, guys.
Item number 9 is the correction of the record to reflect that the correct statewide price agreement number for the agreement with Cutler Paving, Inc. for pavement resurfacing project approved by governing body on November 12, 2024 is 30-80500-23-17018. Explain it to me.
Mayor Crawford, members of the council, when we submitted for the approval of their contract, we had since that meeting, they've had a revised new price agreement with the General Services Department of the state of New Mexico. It's just reflecting that we have the correct number on this. Contract is good. We'll do the notice of award, notice to proceed to Department of Transportation, and we're still on schedule to get the project going, so.
Mayor, I move approval of the correction of the record to reflect the correct statewide price agreement number for the agreement with Cutler Repaving, Inc. for pavement resurfacing project approved by the governing body on November 12th, 2024 is 30-80500-23-17018.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please, ma'am.
Counselor Corey?
Aye.
Counselor Jackson?
Aye.
Counselor Hooker?
Aye.
Counselor Salas?
Aye.
Counselor Letterman?
Aye.
Counselor Eby?
All right.
So, do we have stuff for closed
Yes.
session? So we will entertain a motion to go into closed session.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we move into closed session for discussion of limited personnel matters, citing 1015-1H2 NMSA 1978. Further discussion subject to the attorney-client privilege pertaining to threatened or pending litigation in which the Village of Ruidoso is or may become a participant, citing 1015-1H7 NMSA 1978. Finally, discussion of the purchase, acquisition, and/or disposal of real property and/or water rights by the Village of Ruidoso, citing 1015-1H8 NMSA 1978. Any action taken as a result of the closed session will be brought back into open session, and I so move.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please, ma'am.
Counselor Jackson?
Aye.
Counselor Salas?
Aye.
Counselor Corey?
Aye.
Counselor Hooker?
Aye.
Counselor Letterman?
Aye.
Counselor Eby?
All right.
Okay, we will be back, and those that we don't see you, hopefully you're at the appreciation party for the commissions tomorrow night at 5:30. And then we have something else Thursday at the RSVP.